I'm live. You can hear me. Welcome in. Give this video a thumbs up. So today we're talking about structure and flow being used together and how that makes up the $1 Million Babe. So I won't start talking fully until I can confirm that you guys can see me and hear me. I always feel like filming in a different room, and I try to follow like my internal nudges of what to wear, where to film, what to eat. So I'm just like following along, and today it's like, okay, I want to do this with my master. So here I am. Okay, hi. Thank you. I'm assuming you can hear me and see me. Okay, so let's get started. So today I'm using a slightly different terminology than what we used in our training earlier this week when we talked about the feminine and masculine energy in our business. And today I'm using structure and flow. And I'm doing this deliberately because sometimes people can get really in their head and get really like bogged down by the terms masculine and feminine. And of course, considering that 90% of females identify as the feminine and 90% of men identify as the masculine, of course gender plays a role in it. However, when we're talking about these energies within our business or within our home or within ourselves or even within our relationships, we have to keep in mind that we ebb and flow with these energies. They're not on-off switches. A feminine, like a female, is not stuck and bound to feminine energy. In fact, like we talked about in our last training, which I have linked in the description box if you haven't seen it, if you're like, if you look at the spectrum of like masculine to feminine and feminine to masculine, if someone was 100% feminine energy, they would be institutionalized. They would be so ungrounded, so delusional, so in their addictive behaviors that they would actually need psychiatric help. And if someone was severely in their masculine, like just 100% in their masculine, they would be so out of touch with who they were, their emotional body, empathy, compassion. Like they would be so on the other extreme that they would actually probably be in jail. Like I mean, we're talking like completely psychopaths, right? So as you can imagine, that the average human being, even outliers, right? Like the average human being, if you're talking about it, has a mix of feminine and masculine, okay? Outliers, people that are like, in the top 1% of whatever they're doing in their life, typically are very aware of how these energies function in their life, and they are using them intentionally, even if they're not calling them feminine and masculine. They might be calling it structure and flow. They might not even have language around it and still be using it in a way that really serves them. So this is something that I want you to make friends with, get comfortable with, because if you are transitioning from the self-aware Barbie into the $1 Million Babe, you're going to have to learn this. Whether you want to call it masculine or feminine or not, you're going to have to learn to master this. So let's talk about the $1 Million Babe in structure and flow. So you can have structure without flow, just like we talked about in the first training. You can have masculine without the feminine, but you cannot have the feminine without the masculine. So you cannot get into flow without structure. In fact, if you really think about this, the self-aware Barbie has a lot of structure. She might even be over-structured. The self-aware Barbie is known to over-optimize certain areas of her life or her being, like what she's doing and how she's embodied. But she's not going to have flow, and that's where that like fight or flight comes from. That's where all the relationship problems come from. That's where that dissatisfaction with whatever they're doing comes from. So she's missing flow. The $1 Million Babe has structure within herself, and she has structure in her life. So in order to move on to the $1 Million Babe, you need to create structure inside of yourself and also create structure in your environment. Okay? Let me know if this is resonating with you. And honestly, this training, like I know last time we talked primarily about business, But this training, you can like customize it. You can not use it to create anything. Be like, I just want to like feel good inside my body. Like, I just want to use this information to do inner work. You can do that. Or you could say, you know what? I'm going to use this information to completely change my family's like home structure. You can do that. You can change your business with this. You can optimize any area of your life, your workout, your creativity, okay? So you can optimize so many things. Within yourself, really resonating. Marcia said, thank you. Welcome in, everyone. Lovely to have you, all of our members. We have a YouTube membership, and that gives you access to the chat, and it also gives you access to, on the main page, the videos that we take down from YouTube that are limited time. You will still have access to them if you are a member of the Level Up Queen. Oh, hi, Armaan's here, Haney's here, welcome in. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to start a meditation practice. Now, at first feel, what do you think meditation is? Is it structure or is it flow? Let me see what you guys say in the chat. Tell me right now, if you're watching this in the replay, tell me in the comments, what is meditation? Is it structure or is it flow? What like immediately comes up for you? Okay, Secret Summer says flow. All right, anything else? Flow. Someone else said flow. I honestly feel it's flow. Okay, it is both. In order to create anything, what you hear me saying all the time, you need both. So meditation is you creating a structure for your thoughts so that you are not becoming a slave to your thoughts. You're creating this embodiment and a structure around becoming the observer of your thoughts. So sometimes we think that certain things are either feminine or masculine, but if you really think about them, anything of value will require both. So you sitting down, perhaps lighting a candle, the fact that maybe you meditate around the same time every day, maybe you have triggers that signal it's time to go meditate, like it's morning or you've dropped off the kids or it's right before bedtime, right? And then when you're sitting down, actually your body now becomes a structure for your thoughts, and your thoughts are flowing and you are observing them. Okay, so you have to have some kind of a structure to get into flow. Like you need both of those things. In fact, the entire science of flow talks about how athletes get into flow by repeating certain like habits or certain rituals, typically at the same time of day, maybe wearing the same thing, maybe they have same triggers around it. So going back to our $1 million babe, the $1 million babe has created first and foremost a structure within herself. So because she is able to have a structure around her emotions, she can be grounded in wherever she is, whatever she's doing, then she can be in her flow. So let me give you an example. The example that's coming up for me right now is channeling. I wrote a whole thing on it in my book. I've just launched a course. In fact, we're enrolling right now in the pre-order phase called Channeled, where I'm going to share with you the entire process of channeling, how I channeled my recent book. By the way, I have to share an announcement if you didn't see it on Instagram. Officially, we are 20 days in of when I first got the download for this book and started writing, and the first draft is complete today. This morning, I completed the first draft. So I just feel so excited. It's just the first draft, and the first draft was very much just only flow-based, as I will be teaching you guys in Channeled. But people who channel 100% from flow, we call them delusional and put them in institutions. We can call them schizophrenic. We could think of like the extreme that I'm talking about right now. People that channel we're very much within a structure, they're very grounded in their channeling. We call them geniuses. We worship them. We call them leaders and mentors and thought leaders. And we're like reading all their books and buying all their stuff. They're both channeling, But do you see what happens when you remove structure? By the way, I have followed people that I actually loved and adored, and then had to stop following them because at some point they lost structure. And this is common with a lot of spiritual work, because spirituality requires you to be so much in your flow. And if they are not doing daily grounding practices and creating a structure around them getting in flow, it's a really fine line between you being really in tune with the divine and channeling your work, and then just simply sounding completely delusional. And it's one thing to sound it. I saw their lives starting to kind of unravel. I'm like, they're losing structure. So if you are someone that wants to be able to be in the $1 Million Babe and create both, you know, you want to be $1 Million Babe, you want to have manifestations, you want to have them physically present here, not just in the metaphysical. You want to have a yummy, delicious relationship, but you also want to build something of your own in your life and be creative and be an amazing parent, and you want the whole package. You're going to have to learn to create this within you. So how this looks like internally is that I can flow back and forth between feeling into my emotions, being in the storm of whatever is coming up, crying if I feel like crying, laughing if I feel like laughing, being in my empathy, compassion, like feeling all of the things. And in the next second, if I need to, completely turn off my emotions, like remove emotion out of it. And like, I can't tell you what a valuable skill this is. If you don't know how to turn off your emotions, there's gonna be a cap how far you can get in your life, because you are one trigger away from losing your shit. You're one trigger away from just being known as very irresponsible, very unprofessional, level 10 cray. I mean, think about it. You are a ticking time bomb if you don't know how to have emotional control. Where do you think emotional control comes from? If you look at structure and flow, it comes from the structure. It comes from the masculine. Remember, the masculine evolved to not be in their emotions all the time, to not be about the feeling all the time, and to do the thing that they're required to do. So if you do not have the ability to turn off and put aside emotion, have emotional control, to stop caring for a moment with all the stuff and do what needs to be done, you're one trigger away from just losing it. And we know, we've all seen people like that have it put together, and then one little thing sets them off and you're going, oh my God. And all of a sudden you're not feeling safe with these people, right? That's what's missing. So real inner work, the way that it works is that we teach you how to be able to toggle between the two. Now you might be thinking, how is this different from the self-aware Barbie? The self-aware Barbie is in fight or flight. She has numbed her emotional body. Big difference. It's very different to not be able to feel your emotions ever and just kind of be like a robot that's just functioning in fight or flight, or be able to toggle between the two when you need to. There might be a situation at work or in business where you need to have emotional control. You need to be able to shut off your triggers at that moment. And then, yes, when you're home, you can get back into it. You can journal, you can talk to a therapist, you can work through it. You can go in, you drop in, work through where the emotion is coming from, why it's coming up, and heal it. But if you're doing that anywhere, you're a loose cannon. That's the basic babe, basically. I just described the basic babe, right? And these people will often give you excuses like, oh, well, I'm just speaking my mind, or you know, I'm just sharing my truth with you. Yeah, no one wants to hear all of your truth. No one wants to hear all of your crazy. Okay, most people can choose to do without that, right? It's too much for most people. You know where the phrase "you're being too much" comes from? You know what they're actually saying? If someone ever tells you, I know there's a whole trigger in the feminine space or female space around, like, you know, being called too much. Basically, it's code for you've lost structure. Whatever you're bringing, as beautiful it might be, it's out of control. The other person can't deal with it in the unstructured way that is being brought to them. So emotions are beautiful as long as they're contained within a certain structure, right? Otherwise, you know, someone could break a window and say, I was just showing my emotions, just being honest and being vulnerable and just giving you how I'm feeling. Yeah, that's inappropriate. Okay, there needs to be a structure around how you're gonna flow your emotions. Otherwise, people are gonna call you cray and you're not gonna be able to function in society. So within ourselves, the biggest difference within the self-aware Barbie and the $1 Million Babe is going to be an inward and outward structure and flow. They're going to be, the $1 Million Babe is going to be able to bounce back, and she's energy fluid. She can choose to bring whichever side because she's in full control of what she gets to bring. And that's why she is such a manifestation queen. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, I have all these wonderful people joining the Level Up Queens. Thank you for supporting my work. So as you're hearing this, here's what I want you to start thinking, okay? Start playing with, okay? Where in my life do I have more structure than flow? Where in my life do I lack structure and therefore have no flow? Because remember, we can have a lot of structure and not have any flow. And life, that's when work doesn't feel good. Life seems complicated. You feel unmotivated because it's like hard. Everything's just like drudgery. It's like, oh my God, right? This is why when feminine women, women that want to be more in their $1 Million Babe, when we read books that are like written through the perspective of the masculine, it could be written by a man or a woman, but it's very much like masculine energy. We read it and we're like, I don't want to do that. Like you might be even excited about it at first. You're like, okay, I need a schedule. I need a routine. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then like 2 days in, you're just like, no, like who's been there, right? You're just like, I can't do this because what's missing is the flow part. And as a woman that's identified as more of the feminine, meaning we identify primarily as a feminine essence of being, especially when it comes to our love body, we're going to need to be able to go into our flow. So in my life, even in the way that Irfan and I run our household, in the way that I run my wardrobe, my like home staff, my business, my team, all of it has this component of structure and flow. Like everything. Even if we're gotten so used to it where we're not like defining it or like talking about it, it's still running under that same container. So where in your life are you lacking these? If you're watching this in the chat, let us know. If you're watching this in the replay, put it in the comment. And actually, this might be a journal prompt for you, that where do you need to spend more time? So I have 2 offers that I do want to tell you guys about, and that I'll share a little bit about my book journey. If you guys want more examples, let me know. I'll be happy to give you guys more examples of this structure and flow and how you can bring it. The 2 offers I have right now is, one is the 8-figure bundle, which many of you guys have taken advantage of. So the 8-figure bundle is all of my business courses and in one bundle. So if you buy these courses separately, it has the 8 courses plus Millionaires Play Shop. It's 20,700 and something. So that's just if you buy them separately. Right now, if you get the bundle on the pre-order, the pre-launch price, you get it for less than, I think it comes to like 60% off, something like that. So it's highly discounted. It's basically like buying the CEO Boss Queen, which is included in this, and then getting all other 8 courses, including Millionaires, for like $1,000. So it's a really fantastic deal. And here's the thing. My business courses, my relationship courses, like all of my courses have already built in it the flow and structure system. Even if I'm calling it whatever, I could be calling it masculine and feminine. I could be calling it structure and flow. It doesn't matter. It's got the active side and the metaphysical side both built in it. Because in order to create anything of value on this planet, anything that you enjoy, anything that's sustainable, anything that you want to be in for the long haul, you're going to have to learn to do both of those, right? As we've said. The other offer that I have right now is Channeled, this is a course that I've been wanting to launch for a long time, but it wouldn't fully come through. I knew I was going to have a course at some point called Channeled. I never in a million years would have thought that this course would come through my book. So in this course, I will be teaching you guys how to channel anything and how to create that structure and flow with channeling, because remember, channeling needs both of them, otherwise you just sound crazy and delusional and no one wants anything from you. So if you want to do this in a way that is helpful and useful, you're gonna have to be grounded when you do it. So that's one. That's what it has in there. Secondly, I'm going to be using this sort of as an exciting, intimate group to kind of strip tease my book. So I'm going to be sharing in there the entire process of writing a book, channeled, and the structures around it. I'm going to be releasing my book cover, helping you guys choose. Actually, you guys will help me choose, because my book designer is going to be sending over several options, and so we will get together in there and choose the best option together. I'm also going to be revealing my fabulous chapter titles. Probably will have you guys in stitches. In fact, at some point, I believe that each one of my chapters will become its own book. That's what I'm being shown right now. But they are freaking just hilarious. So I'm gonna tell you why I chose the chapters that I did. So that's gonna be in there. I'm also going to be releasing large portions of each chapter, maybe even the whole chapter, I haven't decided yet, to you guys to read before the book is launched. The other thing I wanna do is when the book is launched, I want to have a module on each chapter talking about it and like explaining it more and going more in depth. So considering my book has 13 chapters, I already have 3 modules in that course that were pre-recorded, and all of the other things I'm going to be doing. That's a lot of value and a lot of time with me in this container. You won't even believe the pre-order price right now. It is going to be going up significantly in the next 48 hours when the timer runs out. So if you want to write a book in the future, or you don't care about writing a book, you're like, I just want to be involved in all this excitement and learn all of these amazing things and use them in other areas of my life, this is going to be useful. Or if you just want to join me for those 13 chapters where I do a module on each chapter, there is a welcome party happening in Channeled on Monday. I wanted to do like a party for the celebration that the first draft is done, and I'm going to be revealing certain exciting things about some of the things in there as well. So that's happening on Monday. What else do I want to share with you? So the links for both of these are in the description box, in the chat, and posted on the first comment. What else did I want to say about any of this? Let me think. Oh, and then you have lifetime access. So in the future, when I add my audiobook, I'm gonna do modules on that. When I add my journal, I'm gonna do more modules on that. So our goal is to release this book and then also add a companion journal, because I added so many journal prompts, so much inner work in here. Like literally, like I gave you guys everything, like everything that I use, I teach as far as journal prompts, inner work, exercises, drop-ins, like so good, delivered with just a lot of savageness and just bluntness. And I never in a million years would thought, like if you told me I was writing this book like 21 days ago, I would have said hell no. Like 20 days ago, I got the download, the title, the tagline, the first 2 chapters, and I can't believe the whole thing is written now. Well, not the first draft, but you get what I mean, right? So I'm so excited. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. I'm very structured and happy about this. Big portal, but missing flow in my big family move to another continent. So I wonder how much more fun it would be for you guys if you did add flow. Like I bet it would be so much fun, like for everyone. Because my family has a lot of structure, but we have so much more flow, and that's why we have so much fun. So add it. Anytime we notice, uh-oh, we've got some structure in here, but it feels like we're suffocating because there's no flow, we add flow. So this is something that you can choose to do. I lack structure regarding finances, and the universe has presented me with a tool after tool now that I'm ready to do the work. Beautiful. I know why this has been hard for us women, unless you're like extreme self-aware Barbie and you can put aside, like numb yourself, is because typically up until this point, until women got involved, finances were taught in a way that were like drudgery, like I feel like. And then until like women started making their own money and like women had like femininity had to be infused back into finances, it was drudgery. That's why it's taking us a lot to like learn it, because the systems are just so dry. I can't wait to read it. Thank you, babe. I'm getting really, really excited about the book. I know, me too, me too. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. The most exciting part for me right now, aside from obviously everyone reading it, is your faces when you hear the name. Your faces when you guys see the chapter titles. Like, I was we were having a meeting, me and Haney, and Haney, did we record that meeting? I think we did record it. We recorded it for you guys. It's gonna be in channeled. I can't give you guys the 3 pre-recorded stuff until later because it has the book name on it. One of the things that came up in our meeting was if we could record people's faces when they heard the name of the book. And now I'm gonna get a chance, because when you are when you're in the chat with me in the Zoom call, I'm going to ask you guys to turn on your camera, and then I will reveal the name, because I would just like to see. So far, the few people on this planet that know the name have all had like the craziest reaction to it. So I can't wait. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Mina, I have a boyfriend. We're about to get married in 3 months. Is he your boyfriend or fiance? Because if he's your boyfriend, then how do you know you're about to get married? Before I even read the rest of your question, let me just tell you that if you watch my channel, we don't do boyfriends here. And so when you already have a boyfriend, my advice typically will not work for you. I advise finding a coach that does boyfriends, because I just believe it's a really bad idea. It's very downgrading, degrading, and one position, what is it? One down position to have a boyfriend. So I typically do not advise people with boyfriends. We've done the family introductions. I shared with him my need for him to take care of my monthly expenses by giving me allowance, and he reacted so negatively and said I'm using him for money and all. I'm very offended. I tried explaining where I'm coming from, and I'm still being understood. My advice would be to break up with him immediately and don't do the whole boyfriend thing. Go and watch some of my older videos on where I tell you guys the dangers of having a boyfriend. Get yourself out of here. Just get out of this situation. He's not your husband. You are not stock. Get out as quickly as you can and start fresh. If you watch my older videos, you'll see the mistake you made was making him your boyfriend. You would have had everything you wanted if you didn't make him your boyfriend. It's going to be hilarious, Haney said regarding the book name. Okay, back to talking about structure and flow. What else is coming up for you guys? Oh, I was gonna talk to you guys about structure and flow in my book writing. So my number one advice for you when doing anything creative is do not start with the structure. I know this, you might say, Mina, I thought you just said that in order to have flow, you need structure. But when you are channeling, like when you're already in the state, when you're channeling information, if you stop then and try to structure in some way, you're actually going to break your flow. So the structure in this case should already be happening in your life. Okay? In this point, do not stop your flow by trying to create structure out of it. So I'll give you guys a example of this. When I was in St. Thomas and I started getting the flow of the book coming through, and I just started, like, I pulled out my phone and I just started writing right in my phone. That's all I had. I was sitting on a beach. I started typing. I typed the title, the tagline, the subtitle. Tagline means subtitle. This isn't a course, Mina. And then I just typed out the entire 2 chapters. They just flowed through me. When I came back home, all of a sudden I'm like, wow, you can't write a book without doing research. And I started doing research. And then like, now I need to like have an outline because that's what they said in the research that I did. And then I started creating an outline. All of a sudden I started noticing that those couple of days that I was trying to create a structure on the book, nothing flowed. I didn't do any writing. So when I say I started writing 20 days ago, keep in mind that some of these days, nothing came through. So I was like, what the hell is going on? And the mistake that I made was I was already tapped into flow. I was now trying to interrupt my flow by setting it in a container. But the fact that I was already in flow already shows me that there was already some kind of a container. So interrupting your flow to create structure is a bad idea. So after that point, I stopped the outline. I stopped like trying to make the book make sense. I stopped thinking about what's the journey that I'm giving, you know, whatever the people said in the research that I was doing. And I simply just typed like as it was coming, whether it was coming in pen or paper or whether it's coming in an audio like message or when I'm typing on the computer, like however it was coming, even if at that time I didn't know how it was gonna make sense, I just flowed the book out. Didn't care. And what I noticed is that I had already gotten to like 7 or 8 chapters. There's 13 chapters in total, which is so funny because the day that I started downloading the book, it was already revealed to me that I was going to have 13 chapters. Now in channels, you're gonna hear this one diary, audio diary I did talking to you guys telling you, I don't think I'm gonna make it to 13 chapters. I think I'm only gonna have 8 chapters. It ended up being 13 chapters. So like whatever the first initial download was, it ended up being true. So up until 7 or 8, it made sense to me. When I was looking at the book, it was like, none of this makes sense. All of it is brilliant, but how does it fit together? Like I couldn't figure it out. And then I'm like, I don't need to figure it out. I just need to let it come through. So I completed the book and it's just only the first draft, but I can guarantee you it is such a freaking masterpiece. Somehow, just in writing and flowing the first draft, it started all making sense. Like the journey created itself versus me trying to fix it and mold it and somehow get it in some crazy structure when it was just in its own flow. So now I'm going to start my second draft, which my second draft is, I have an 8-step process of writing a book now, which is weird because all of a sudden, like in 20 days, I have like the whole thing. This isn't my first book. That probably helps as well. Well, you guys know I've written books before, which by the way are listed in the description box. So it helped me. But one thing I also discovered was when I talk, I talk in a very feminine and flowy way. You know this because I literally have 1-hour live streams where I jump from topic to topic. I use my feminine like right brain to just intuitively talk, jump from topic to topic, change topics, come back, tell a story, tell another story within the story. I'm very feminine the way I talk. However, what I discovered was, and I think I know the reason, what I discovered was I'm very masculine in the way that I write. And that was very interesting because it's just so different from the way that I talk. And it has my tone in it. It has all my stuff in it. But I was journaling. I said, why do I write in such a concise, like masculine way? And then I realized the 2 most influential people in my life that were my English teachers, my writing teachers, one in university and one in high school, they were both women, but they were very masculine in the way that they wrote. In general, they were more like masculine women. And so because they were my first writing mentors, my writing is like very concise and like very masculine. So then now that I'm gonna do the second draft, which is going to be more of a content edit, I'm going to add a little bit more of, I think there's some already in it, but some of that more feminine flair in the way that I speak. So that's where the book is at right now. I'm just so excited about this project. I can't stop talking about it. Yes, you answered my question without asking it. I experienced this too, where I start journaling and get so inspired, and when I concentrate on the how, I get discouraged. So once you're already in the flow, that's not the time to be like, okay, let's like structure this bitch up, okay? Just trust that the fact that you're already in flow means at some point you have structure. Let me give you an interesting example. Before I went to St. Thomas, when the book wasn't even an idea in my mind, I kept feeling like something big is coming. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was a course. I didn't know it was a inner work. Like I had no idea, but I could feel something. And my gut feel was to declutter my mind, declutter my systems, declutter my closet, my home, my routines. And when I started decluttering, I'm like, okay, there's a timeline jump happening. I don't know, it's not revealed to me yet, but there's something big coming through because I'm going a little bit in the self-aware Barbie. And what does the self-aware Barbie do? She creates structure. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna run with it. So I did the things that were my inspired action to do. Little did I know that the universe was literally putting me in this huge flow to write this book. Why do you think I wrote this book in 20 days? In fact, under 20 days really, because some days, like I said, I wasn't writing. So because the structure had already happened, okay? So when I'm like trying to stop the flow to structure, there's no point. You're already in the flow. So that's not the time to do it, okay? One way that helps me is, and I know this comes out the wrong way when I say it, so don't take this literally, but try to understand my sentiment behind it and my mindset behind it. I keep my life fairly small, and I think, don't misunderstand this, fairly small to have a big impact. So I don't get involved in a lot of projects. I don't have a whole bunch of people coming at me, giving me advice, or just a whole bunch of people that I have to deal with. Like you notice that I generally wear the same thing. I mean, I'm wearing a different top and skirt, but I have a template that I follow, right? In fact, I have the same skirt in 27 different colors because I love it. It fits my body. It's easy to take care of. I do not want to use energetic and creative resources in trying to decide what I'm gonna wear, or dealing with a whole bunch of drama from people who are addicted to suffering, or having too many people that don't understand what I'm trying to create giving me their opinions. Like, I keep my everyday life super simple, and then the excitement in my life comes from the love and the depth of my experience, right? So the fact that I like have a soulmate relationship, that I like have a friendship with my children, that I live in my dream house, and the fact that I get to do this with you guys, that's where everything fun comes in. But the building blocks and the foundations of my life are very consistent. I don't have a lot of new things that I'm constantly like, what's the word, like being subjected to on a daily basis that I have to now deal with. Is that making sense? I don't have a large team, right? So because those things are my structure and they're pretty consistent, I can be in my creative flow. I'm not having decision fatigue every day. Like, I eat a certain way, and the things that do not matter to me, I let my husband decide. I know a lot of women can get into ego about so many things, but I love creativity. I love the things that I create. And so the things that don't matter, like, I don't care if he makes those decisions, and I just give him the credit and appreciate him, and I let my children decide everything else. And I just keep my decision making for the things that really make a big impact in my life. Let me know if this is helpful to you guys. Yes, when I'm feeling creative, I get up and start writing on whatever's closest. Creating structure slows me down, and I end up not finishing. Exactly. And the truth is, Sharina, the fact that you already started flowing, you already have structure. You wouldn't have gotten that far if you didn't have structure. So exactly. This is making so much sense. I overly structure my ideas to the point where flow disappears entirely and everything turns 100% more difficult. Self-aware Barbie moment, babe. I totally know what you're meaning. I did that when I came back from St. Thomas, and all of a sudden I'm like, I have a lot of ideas on how to write a book now. Where the fuck is my book? Like, it's not coming through. The book's like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for this, you know, this bitch to just figure out her structures when we were already trying to come through. This live was exactly what I needed to hear. Beautiful, Marcia. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, so I totally hear that we do this. I end up researching every bit of detail to death. And there's no point, because when I started researching the book stuff, did I hear some cool facts? Yes. Was any of that helpful? No, because none of that mattered. In fact, I have a funny example. Oh my God, this is kind of I have a funny / embarrassing story. So in one of the videos that I watched on YouTube, it was a author, and she was like, well, you have to get this, this, and this, and this set up before you write your book. And I was like, oh, I need to get this, this, and this set up before I write this book. So I reached out to a couple of the types of people that she recommended, one of which was someone that's gonna format the book. And he's asking me all these questions, and then he goes, you don't have a book. He's like, I can't give you a quote if you don't have a book. Go and write your book first and come back. And I'm just like, oops. Yeah, so I was doing just fine flowing the book without all of these people in my head telling me, you need to do this first, and you need to write this first, and you need to figure out your target audience. My target audience is whoever the hell God decides to choose and send to go read this book. Like, when have I ever worried about that stuff, right? So just an example, I was like, oh, I don't have a book, so I can't get a quote from him. Because he was like asking me all these questions. I'm like, I don't know, I only have 2 chapters. Because I can understand his point of view, because you know how many people talk about writing a book and then never actually do? Like 8 years later, they're still writing about their, like talking about their imaginary book. So I can understand why this guy would not want to like sit and waste his time on giving people quotes that don't actually have a book. When you spoke about how simple your life is, I just thought about how mine is also so simple. My life already helps me be in flow constantly. Beautiful. And you notice that any of the people, whether you love them or hate them, look, you don't have to love all these people. But if the people that have created massive change on this planet, again, whether you agree with that change or not, totally up to you. They have a very simple life. They might be billionaires, but they tend to wear similar things every day. They eat the similar things for breakfast and lunch. Like, if you talk to them, they have a very simple life. They do. You cannot have a very chaotic everyday existence and create anything of value. You're just gonna create more chaos. So this is a big life lesson. Actually, if you read my first book, it's so interesting because when I wrote that book, I was right at that point of leaving the self-aware Barbie and entering the $1 Million Babe. It was written in 2016. And that entire book is me showing you how to automate certain areas of your life from a very self-aware Barbie perspective. And if you guys know the whole story, after that book was published and then I launched my first course in 2017, my entire life changed. Magic happened in my life from the structures that I shared with you in that book. Of course, I did not know that at that time when I wrote that book, that something magical was coming. But recently, I was looking at that book. In fact, let me go get it for you. I want to show it to you guys because I have some advice I want to ask you. Maybe I'm going to have the people in channels choose this for me, but let me go get this book for you. Sorry, I'm back. Okay, so this is the book that I wrote in 2016. So I've had like a whole bunch of copies sitting on my bookshelf because you know, people that we know, like our family knows about it, and when they come over they always want a signed copy and I'm always embarrassed, like, so that's why I have a whole bunch of copies sitting. Anyways, it's so funny because this book was about leaving my business, marrying Irfan, retiring at 28, and like creating a beautiful life. So at the time, I gave it this title, which I don't like. I did the cover myself. I wrote the book in a week. Irfan edited it. He did all of like the uploading it, all of that stuff for me. I did the cover of it. And now that I have more like resource, like not only financial resources, but like more energetic resources and know-how, I'm renaming the book, and I want to have the cover professionally done. I don't know what this book should be named. What I try to tap into it, but right now all of my downloads are regarding the new book. So I'm not getting anything, but what I keep getting is that ask your people. So if you have the book, you've read the book, think of a name. If I end up choosing someone's name, I'm gonna do like a giveaway or something. So read the book and tell me a good name. The other thing was that in my mind, I had this story that this is not a good book. I don't know why. I was just like, well, it was 2016 and now I'm like so much more grown up and I know so much more. And so the other day, I was just kind of like flipping through it and I was like, this is so freaking good. Like, I don't know why I was like energetically discounting that version of me. And that is so not right. So I had this whole moment in my journal where I was like, I'm so sorry, self-aware, you know, Barbie version of Mina 2016. Cause like I know millions of people that would love this book, and this book would be exactly what they freaking need in their life. Because if you are someone that's having trouble automating areas of your life, you don't know the type of diet you should be eating, how you should be engaging in your relationships. Like when I looked through it and I read the chapter descriptions, I'm like probably like 80% of my audience needs this book right now, and you have not been telling anyone about it. So then I was thinking from my quantum self perspective, and I was thinking, what if 7 years later, that version of me looks at the book that you are so excited about right now, that you know your people need so bad, that you know is going to create a huge revolution on this planet, and goes, oh, that book's not that great because now I'm smarter and I know more. But like, some people still need that book. So I apologize to this book and that version of me. And I have started talking about it now. It is a fantastic book. It's exactly what a lot of you guys need, because not everyone is at the same place. Like, there's probably at least 2 or 3 chapters in here that will like change your life. So I don't know why I was doing this. Do you guys do that too? Like, discount older versions of yourself just because you've evolved now? The Barbie book. It has to make sense though. Do you think that people, if someone doesn't know my work, would they still understand what I'm talking about? Basic babe, $2 million babe. Yeah, see, with these kind of names, babes, the thing is that you should name a book from the perspective that if anyone finds it, they don't need like special lingo to understand it. Like, they should be like, oh, I understand sort of what it's about. I thought about wifed and retired at 28 because that's where the journey begins. So I don't know. Another thing that was coming up for me was, should I add something to this book? Like, should I add an expanded version, another chapter? But really, when I look through it, it's so perfect the way it is. I don't know if I want to. I talk about time management. Let me read the chapters to you guys. By the way, the new chapter titles, like if I could record every person's face that lands on Amazon accidentally, doesn't know who I am, reads the title, is like, what? Clicks on the look inside and then reads the titles, like, oh my God, that would be worth like paying millions of dollars just to see their expressions, because they're gonna be like, what is going on? Like, what is this? But anyways, this one is, okay, so let me read. Like, the first one is your personal mission statement. 2 is nutrition. So it's all about the health, mind, beauty connection. 2 is about exercise. 4 is about stress, triggers. 1 confrontation away from crazy. Chapter 5 is about distractions and reorganizing your environment. Notice structures, right? Creating structures. 6 is about dealing with like negative people, time management. Oh, 6 is about time management. 7 is about confidence and becoming unbreakable. 8 is nurturing your relationships. 9 is about self-care. 10 is about your money, putting your money where your soul is. So this book, the structure that it created, the following year, I launched this business. So like, I did not know that at this time. I did not know that the structure that this book was creating in my, like the stuff that I'm teaching in there, how I had done that was preparing me to launch this 8-figure company. Like, how freaking crazy is that? The Get Your Life Together Guide. I think there's a book by that name already, but I like it. Yes, I've discounted old versions of myself. But see, and I'm sorry that you did that, because I'm sorry that I was doing that, because there's people that need that version of you, right? And that's the version that got you here. How to leave your human experience aligned. Okay. Then I think, no, she's where you got to be here right now. She took the leap and jumped. Yes, she's the reason that you're here. Me creating the structures that I taught you guys in this book is the reason that I ended up where I am right now. Like, literally. You'll see it in there. I'll throw a link of this book in case anyone wants to grab it. So after my book designer is done with this book's cover, her other assignment is to do this book's cover, but I freaking need a name before we do that, babe. So let's hurry it up with a catchy name for this one. Yeah. What do you guys think of like wifed and retired at 20? I don't know, but I'm not talking about getting wifed. I'm talking about like your home structures. So I don't know. Creating masculine structure to nurture your feminine flow. Ooh, I like that one. Haney, take a screenshot of that one for us. I like that one. Creating masculine structure to nurture your feminine flow. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that would be a fantastic like subtitle. And then I'm gonna do like a sexy title for it. I mean, for the fact that I did this title, it's not bad, but it doesn't match where I'm at right now. I'm proud of the fact that I somehow figured all the stuff out at that time. That's what I can say. The part, if I did add something to it, you know what I would add? I wasn't in a space then to explain the whole like, yay, I got married and have a provider, and like now I get to create all these structures for myself. Like I danced or like jumped over it, like didn't get into it. So if I did add another chapter, which how many chapters do we have? Because we have 10 chapters. 13 is my lucky number. If I added 3 more chapters, it would be about the fact that I even had time to write this book or create any of these structures was because I married well. Like I wasn't, you know, trying to be in a loser relationship where I have to do everything, I mean. So yeah. The last chapter name spoke to me. Put your money where your soul is. Yeah, at that time, like I didn't have the savageness as much as I do now to create the kind of titles that I have right now. But should I tell you guys one of the titles? I'm gonna be revealing all this stuff mainly in the channel thing, just because I don't, more just for like copyright things. Like I want to make sure that my name and my chapters, like everything remain private and they're like not publicly being used before I put them in my book, before the book is released. So maybe I won't release it right now, but I can't wait for you guys to hear it. It's gonna be so good. So this one only comes in paperback and Kindle right now. Eventually, when I'm done with the new book, then I will probably put this on Audible as well when I'm done with all that stuff for the new book. But that's like later. I need to finish what I've started over here first. Anything else coming up for you guys as far as questions about channeled, about the 8-figure bundle, about structure and flow? before I let you guys go. I have like way too much excitement today. It's like Mina's first container. Do you mean the book or the marriage? And I think this book is really valuable because some of you guys may be thinking, well, if you have a man, then he's creating containers. But the truth is, the containers structures also be needed to be contained by you. Like, you need to also have structures within you. And this book has my entire process for how I did that for myself. I'll give you guys another few seconds. I know there is a lag to see if anyone else wants to ask anything, and then I'll let you guys go. But I do really like creating masculine structure to nurture your feminine flow. I do really like that, especially as a subtitle. The book right now is called From Businesswoman to Housewife, My Journey to Finding Inner Peace, which it describes the book, but it's not punchy. It's not reflective of who I am now. I really love your book. It led me to read The Secret. Beautiful, thank you. I'll reread the book and email your team title names. Thank you, Sharina, I appreciate that. Thank you, ladies. You know what would really also help me out is if you guys can go on Amazon, for those of you guys that have read the book, and post an honest review about it. That is so helpful to us as authors. And right now, especially with a lot of spam that's been going around on Amazon and everywhere else, because of the whole ChatGPT AI thing, people are writing basically spam books and trying to market them, and it's really confusing the marketplace. Because of that, the people who are like actual authors putting out like actual books of values are really more than ever dependent on your honest reviews. So if you can go and leave this book an honest review, that would be very helpful. Not just for me, but any of the authors that you guys enjoy. That's really helpful. And also, as this is the same author page that I will be posting my new book with, so I want this book to start kind of like getting back in there so that when I post the new one, more people can see it. And I do have references in the back. So a lot of you guys are asking me, you know, your diet, your this, like I have people like reference in the back that have greatly impacted my journey. So, you know, for those of you guys wondering what diet that I eat, like I gave credit to the books that led me to those diets. And I'm looking at it now. Some of these people were my friends at that time, whose books I've referenced in here. I talk about The Millionaire Mind from Dr. Thomas Stanley, The Millionaire Next Door. I linked articles from about decision fatigue. It's like, this is the stuff that I've been telling you guys that has helped my life. Like, I have it all in here, written out in 2016. I talk about some of the people who have impacted my knowledge, like expanded, I would say, my knowledge on evolution, credited them in here. Who else? Yeah. Awesome. Oh, the blood type diet. Remember that? This is like walking through memory lane. It really is. About the hormone stuff, Dr. Sarah Gottfried, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Marie Kondo is in here. So good. Ah, so many memories. My self-aware Barbie days. Just so grateful. Thank you. So grateful. That could be a name. All right, ladies, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and sharing in my excitement and talking about structure and flow. And I really hope that this was useful for you guys. That book, The First Container That You Started Expanding Little by Little. Yes, I will say this because you literally see my like self-awareness coming into play in this book. it was the first time that I became aware of being self-aware. Does that make sense? When you're like, oh, like I'm getting it now, you know, that kind of a vibe, like this was it. So that's when like the $1 million babe, I'm sorry, the self-aware Barbie is moving into the $1 million babe. She's like creating space in her life to do that. So in another way, this is like a little bit of a summary, you could say, a shorter summary of the self-aware Barbie activated bundle. Yeah, if that course had a companion book, this would be it. The self-aware Barbie activated bundle is this book. All right, ladies, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.